Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I did. I have something pretty epic planned for that. I do want to add some more difficulty to that.
Epic difficulty.
Sounded like it. It's because that's literally what my brain goes into when I'm the world building up. Yes.
You didn't really improve with that conversation. When you're
I'm still waiting to see the next movie where they include Mace Windu, since they mentioned that he is confirmed dead. Everyone wants a little Sam Jackson.
Who doesn't want some Sam Jackson? Well, hello and welcome back, friends and adventurers, back to another session where we follow our illustrious party as they venture across the lands of Eberron and beyond. Last we left off, they, the party members, respectively being Phelan, GMW, Percy, Singiran, Voltai, Solitude, and Zamiel, had just given birth to a girl? A boy? No, an egg. Which Singiran quickly scooped up and placed next to another egg.
Bum, bum, bum.
I don't think any of the other party members noticed this much, but they did notice that Singiran was careful to take care of this newly birthed egg. And Ursendal, thankful for their savior and protection and the healing and mending skills of Percy and her party members assisting her, of course. Extremely thankful, graciously gifts them with a fire sled, which is a small airship. It's not quite the Ring of Fire or the Skybreaker as it was renamed, but it will do for now. With much to do.
It is a very nice aircraft. I think it will do nicely. At least until such time as we are reacquainted with our Skybreak air.
Well, I've spent a good 10 minutes familiarizing myself with the controls. I can only consider myself an expert now. The wizard said confidently.
You hear what sounds like a great groan coming from behind you, and it's the trunk of the tree that serves as the center mast for the ship.
I've never had a ship vocalize its disapproval before. It is most fascinating.
Peculiar craft, indeed.
Are we going to take the ship with us to our rendezvous with Serpentia, or are we going to leave it here?
It's a very good question.
Isn't our
We should
rendezvous
leave it
in the
here.
jungle? There may not be anywhere to land it in the jungle.
I think we should leave it here.
I am in agreement, Singurin. It is only so recent we lost our own airship.
You're right. Who knows when we'll get an opportunity to get another one. We don't want this one embroiled in the battles to come.
I think it would be wise to also procure, as Percy had originally suggested, the services of a guide. Perhaps one different than Olo. Perhaps Ursendel, if he is healed up enough.
Or at
Well,
least
that sounds
maybe
like an excellent suggestion.
somebody Ursendel can recommend.
Bluey just
Well,
nods in agreement.
if Ersendel himself is not interested or not capable of escorting us, we shall have to make do with his recommendation. I can't imagine that he will be in full fighting form after such a difficult ordeal, but perhaps he is a quick recoverer. Well, it is getting late. I think as I may be heading off to the bed so that I can awaken ready to all primed and ready for my rendezvous with Serpentia. That bitch is not going to know what hit here. Who will accompany me back to the inn?
I will come with you, Solitude.
I
Oh,
suppose we
merci.
all head back.
Indeed.
Bluey takes a last look at the ship.
We might also be able to resupply in the morning.
Oui, correctement. I remember one of you wanting to get some items. I myself have the need of the whole potable for the storage. Hopefully they have one somewhere. Well, gee, don't everyone speak up at once. Here's the inn.
Solitude looks around and she's 60 feet in front of everybody. Just trying to help you out, Sully.
Sorry, I lost my opinion. I'm trying to find.
That's what everybody's doing right now. I know it. I was when there's that silence in between the scene shift, you know what's going on.
Was moving now.
It's like a mini game within the game. It's finding your mini and getting it somewhere.
Yeah.
If your mini gets stuck, then you're really out of luck.
Oh wait, it just
Because you don't
reappeared.
want to be the person.
Gan will
You don't
save
want to be
you.
the person that fell behind.
Thank
So
you.
you're concentrating.
Thanks, Brady.
Hey, no problem, no problem. If you get stuck, yeah, the best thing you can do is just try and use your little green bar to find yourself. I don't think tab is
Yeah,
as
that's what I'm doing
useful
right now.
for you guys as it is for me, but tab should at least show you where your character is if you can't physically see him anymore.
You know how I wish that when you clicked on your character, it would like zoom you all the way into the character.
Yeah, like to
Yeah.
actually like put you right behind your character instead of just be like, here's a building that they might be in.
In the vague direction, suggestion of where they might be.
Your character is literally right here, Brian. So they're in the middle of the lizard house.
Uh,
Oh, there.
yeah, but where? Oh. Okay, gotta go underneath the hood. I'm over here. Like I thought it was all. I thought it was underneath or on top, but it's in there. Okay.
And I can do this too. Just quickly just show you
Oh,
screenshots of where the character is.
That is pretty cool.
Looks like a Percy.
Who's this guy with the wings?
That is Svenashtar.
Yeah, the Cambion. He was
Oh shit, he's been there the whole
he
time?
was around last time.
Back to
Oh,
extra
shit.
episode.
I said, whoa, what's happening?
But he's in disguise, so he's not actually in that form.
Okay. But he was like that last time?
I made it back.
Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. When we were in battle.
But does he look like that like in battle though? Like is that how he
Yeah.
normally looks?
Yes.
Man, you're gonna have him, you're gonna scare everybody off. You gotta have him like 50 feet behind us or something.
That is why he has alter self.
Okay.
That's why most
Yeah, he needs to look like
demons and devils have that.
he needs like a Clark Kent option. Like some like a like a people friendly version.
Well, he's not very good at understanding mortals or their intricacies, so if you have any suggestions to make his disguises better, he's willing to listen. Because pretty much all he does now when he disguises self is he just like turns himself either into like, you know, what suits the purpose, like if he needs to look like a guard or something like that. But usually it's
Okay.
just a tiefling, you know.
I was about to say, I imagine him as an older mustachioed man with a monocle and a bathrobe and dress shoes.
Now who is this guy?
Well, that could
Who
be
is
him
Kane?
if need be.
Oh, that's Prince Orgav. Holy shit! Did Prince Orgav get a? What is going on?
Man, you've
just-
not been watching. You've been playing. You know we're on Tailspire, right, Brian?
No,
Yeah.
what it is? No, don't do that to me. Something's going on. Or
Nope,
I've never
nope.
been this close
That
to being
Cambion, that Cambion's been exactly like that for like 2 sessions. Orgev's been
That
like
was
that.
I know I'm not
Orgav.
crazy.
Tail.
I'm not crazy. Gan, did Prince Orgav look like that in the last session?
I am pretty
Have
sure
you been-
Orgev did not look like that in sessions previous that you were in, which is probably why. And you gotta think, you guys have spanned two systems in this campaign now, technically for you guys, both Tabletop Simulator, actually for Michael and Dan as well, Tabletop Simulator and Tailspire. So yeah, Orgev may be very different looking. He's like in his full adventurer's gear, and to be honest, it's actually perfect that you should say that because he does look a little bit different than usual. Actually, like in game, he looks like he's ready to travel, and he has his adventurer's pack and everything. And when he comes down the stairs, seeing all of you kind of arriving back from taking a look at the new airship, he lets you know that he's secured travel of his own back to the capital, and from there on to Sharn. And by the capital, he means Stormreach, which is northernmost city in Zendrick.
Now, Prince Orgev, do you think it is a good idea for you to go traipsing back to Sharn, where you are a wanted man, all by yourself? You could simply stay with us. We shall be heading there most directly after we handle this mission.
This should help. He puts on a hat, and immediately his disguise changes from the suave character that he is to like an old vagabond. He looks homeless and ragged, and he even disguises his voice a little bit, sounding rather raspy. What's that you said there, madam?
It is a good disguise, I must admit.
It will do me fine until I get to Sean. My biggest problem right now is helping my people. If what we've learned is true about the king and the chancellor, I must be there for them, now more than ever. The refugees in the city, we must evacuate them, but we must do so quietly.
I hope you make great use of your time. It was very costly to break you out of prison.
Monsieur Orgev, we shall reconnect with you after we have concluded matters in this continent. I cannot imagine it will be too long from now. How best for us to communicate with you? Can we still use Bluey to reach you? Bluey, what is the version of the communication protocol software that you have in your system? I always forget the name and version number. Yeah, Bluey. Bluey.
He's rebooting.
He sometimes does this.
6.67 firmware update, protocol 9.74. Rebooted. Apologies.
Do not forget to click the terms and conditions.
Oh, the T's and E's.
Every time.
Prince Orgev strides forward in your direction with a grudging look on his face. Hand me your book. And he reaches out his hand, and he says this like with the expectation that you'll just know what he's talking about.
I hand him my book.
He signs his name in your book of shadows.
Oh, merci. Now, again, I don't have Farscribe anymore. I temporarily got rid of it.
Well, in the meantime, you should be able to communicate with him how you were with
Bluey.
Bluey as well. Yep.
But he is unwittingly signed up for the other feature of the book, which is the one that, like, if he drops to 0 hit points, he bounces back to 1. A good idea. All right. Well, we shall be in communication. Are you spending the evening here, or are you heading out most immediately?
I'm just waiting for my ride. He expects to be leaving within the next few hours.
Until we meet again, adieu. You shall keep a low profile, and I will have my people check in on you. And she turns, seeking out. Is GMW in the bar?
I sure am.
You see Orgev switch back to the vagabond disguise, give Solitude a deep bow, and find a corner of the bar.
I'm wishing to speak with you before you retire for this evening. Meet me in my abode.
All right.
Yeah, well, all of these airship looking at and talking has gotten me most fatigued. Jay is going to retire for the evening, and Will one of you be in charge of securing us a guide for the morrow?
Yes, I plan to speak to Ursendel promptly, says Bluey.
Very nice. Until the morning, then. Bonne nuit.
As he steps around the buffet table,
Solitude heads up to her chambers. I think it's this way. No? Over here? No? Oh, yes, stairs.
Solitude wanders around for another hour trying to find her bed.
Too many exits
Where
and entrances.
where was
in.
it? I cannot remember the fucking stairs.
oh, you got the right way.
Oh, this looks like a room. This is nice. I shall rest here. Before GMW gets there, she's going to close the. Well, there's no door. She's going to trace a series of circles in the ground of frozen runes, and just sit in the middle of it. Close her eyes. Monsignor, I am reaching out to you. You spoke to me, but a few hours ago, saying that I am close by. I am near to you. Please tell me more information so that I might find you and free you. I originally thought that you were trapped in the Frostfell, but that is quite a distance from here. So mayhaps you are somewhere else nearby. Speak to me, and I, your willing servant, will do all in my power to free you from your bonds.
You almost feel like you want to give up before you hear that deep voice resonating in your brain. The Frostfell is not as far as you would think. You are close now. Closer than you have ever been. It is known by another name to those that walk Eberron. Everest. And I'm going to throw this in notes too, just before I forget.
Is it Everice?
Yes. Eve Rice.
The best kind of rice.
Deep beneath the ice, under the ground. So down, so down. You may find Khyber before you find me.
How do I get that far down? Is there a manifest zone or some other way of magical transportation? Or Is there an entrance at the surface level that would take me there?
There are manifest zones, yes, but none that come here. Not unless you have the necessary items upon you.
What are these items?
A stolen sword. The other is intangible. It can be claimed nonetheless.
Is this the blade of misery itself? Or any blade?
The very same.
Therefore, find it. This blade.
The innocence of a princess. Stolen. You have your task. Bring them to Everest, to the center point, and you will find your doorway.
Merci, Monseigneur. I have my mission most clear. I will not fail you.
I cannot promise that when the doorway is opened, I will be the only thing allowed to escape. What I ask of you is a great burden, Solitude. Do this for me, and I will make you a god.
What can I do to free your daughter, Dral Katur? Is she in the area ice as well? How can I reunite you with her?
You
I
must
know it
free
is
me
something you desire.
first. Then we must handle other deeds before this business, before pleasure, as the walkers say.
As you wish, Monseigneur. And she waves her hands, and the runes and the circles vanish into icy mist.
GMW would have sat at the bar for another 10, maybe 20, maybe even 25 minutes. Throws back a shot before he stands up, lights a cigarette, and begins to walk up to your door. And once he reaches it, he gives you the customary knock, 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 knock.
Hey, we enter.
Open the door and walk on inside. Close the door behind myself.
Bonjour, Monsieur Garlis and Maurice and Wild.
Howdy.
I could not help but notice a peaking of the interest when I mentioned the casino in the sky, and my thoughts on, how do you say, relieving it of its treasures.
Well, I'm always down for a little bit of a heist or two.
This will be the heist of heists. If you are in, then the next step is to gain information about this casino and its defenses. I have my ways of sussing out such information. I am wondering if you have any avenues yourself.
I might know a few people. It'd be a little easier if we could get up to the casino and get eyes on it, though.
Voltai is standing kind of below the window that you guys are next to. Think I can make a perception check to hear this conversation?
Voltai just leans casually out the window. Roll perception.
All right. Perception. Not that great of a roll, but 17.
You can clearly hear the voices, although they're taking caution to be quiet. You're close enough within proximity, and also I think the topic of conversation that's being discussed isn't one of dire secrecy. You could clearly hear the conversation as it continues.
Hey,
Well, this
GMW will walk across the room and sit in the window frame to blow smoke out the window.
Artemine
Well,
starts, or not Artemine, Artemine, jeez. Voltai.
Gotcha.
I
Who
did
is
it.
Artemine?
Voltai begins strolling his way up the stairs and kind of leans up against this bookshelf. Not super silently, but just silently enough to like not really interrupt y'all.
We will need
Did
a
I hear someone say treasures?
I mean, if you are interested. We are having
Two
discussions
things
about.
I like most: the hunt and gold.
Well, then the hunt is on, monsieur. We are making initial investigations into the great casino floating in the sky that needs to be taken down a notch or two. We will need a team.
Yeah,
We will need a man on the inside, at least one. And we will need to make a considerable planning beforehand. This is just the introductory meeting. I do not know how to get eyes on the casino, as you say, Monsieur Wild, but I do have sources who could perhaps tell me about the securities and perhaps the identity of someone on the inside who we could make a connection with. Perhaps one of
definitely.
you two could be in charge of the direct surveillance and the locating of other team members trustworthy enough to aid us on this mission.
Getting information on the casino is definitely a step in the right direction. And as you said, a considerable amount of planning is going to have to go into this. As you know, the devil's in the details. Then GMW turned towards Voltaire. You ever robbed anything, son?
Can't say that robbery has been in my line of duty as a dragon speaker. However, I am very adept at entering into places which I am not welcome to acquire my bounties. And I have a keen eye and ear.
Perhaps you will.
How else would I have known that you were conspiring to commit such burglary?
True
Perhaps
enough.
you will at all. She walks up to you and kind of flicks your armor with her finger. Ting. You look like you are a noisy walker about here, though. How is it you are able to be so stealthy with such a clanky armament, monsieur?
This metal is mithril, and you will find that a ranger can be utterly silent when he wishes.
All right. Well, obviously, anyone else in the group who you think may be an asset would be one to recruit?
Your friend with the hallucinate. What's the word? Your friend with the ghost. That seems useful. Perhaps she could lend a hand.
I will ask her. I think even Percy might be of use in this situation, as long as she does not know exactly what we are doing.
The small one.
We definitely couldn't tell her we were planning on robbing anything. She would absolutely be against that.
No. But perhaps that is our in to the casino. Is it we are there for perhaps maybe we are the counselors for the gambling addicts, or something along those lines?
Could be. One of us could enter as a gambler themselves.
Mm-hmm. All right. These are all thoughts to be thinking of. I know we have bigger fish to fry tomorrow, but I wanted to get the gears turning, as we say in Faerun. We should not be seen together discussing this anymore. To bed, all of
Multi jumps out the window.
you. Batman like. So very dramatic.
He is the knight.
You know, you takes the last drag off a cigarette and throws it out the same window. Well, that seemed a little excessive. I just walk back through the door, jumping out no damn window, spurs clinking as I walk down the hallway, muttering to myself, break a
Yeah,
leg
you
or
walk
something.
down the stairs. You walk down the stairs back to our room and see Voltai is just like standing right there, like you awkwardly bump into one another going to the same place.
Solitude pulls out her Book of Shadows, turns to an empty page, pulls out her amethyst pen, and writes Tusk Love Part 2. Fan fiction at the top. But what she really writes in her illusory script is The Casino Heist. Page 1. She starts scribbling some notes.
I think GMW would probably say to Voltide too. Save that much time jumping out of a window, did you?
One must always stay practiced.
You jump out of a lot
An
of
exercise.
windows.
I do. You'll find that it's quite a shortcut when you're trying to chase down your prey.
Well, I tend not to find that I need many shortcuts when I just shoot them.
Ah. Bullets and guns. Where's the thrill?
Just sent you some DMs there, John.
Yep, I'm just now looking at them. So I
Well,
suppose
the
perhaps,
thrill.
an arrow or maybe a rock flies into Solitude's window, hits the ground, and there's
Thunk.
some some notes on it. And she begins reading them and adding to her page 1.
You see a hooded figure slinking by the lizard house through the shadows of the alleyways next to it. If you followed him, you'd see that he quickly leaves town afterwards.
Is Phelan still awake?
Yeah, I think he'd be just polishing his blades here before going to rest, but he's still up at the moment.
I would assume him and Sigurd are probably in the same place. She sees him polishing his blades, and she gets kind of curious. And she says to him, kind of in a playful way, absolutely kind of copying what Solitude or Cadence Solitude would have when she says this. She says, I know of a sort of a test for the finest swordsman in the land. A test done by my people to see who is the best at the quick draw. Would you like to take it?
I think Phelan will kind of sideways glance to Singerin, and I am very intrigued by this. I would like to try, yes.
Well, I must caution you. While I've never seen it done myself, I heard that it has a 50% chance of breaking your blade if you fail it. Are you still interested?
I think I would place a lot of my own confidence in my blades, magic as they may be. I think they will endure the test.
Well, they say the blade isn't the one in your hand, it's the one in your mind. If you fail this test, you may lose your confidence in the next battle. But you already agreed. So she stands up and she takes out a statue, and she'll say, this statue is made from minerals deep underground near my homeland, or the homeland of my people. Like I said, I've never seen it demonstrated, but when she pulls out, it looks like looks almost like a copper statue of a cobra, and she places it on. I guess she wouldn't place it on the bar, but she places it on a table. She kind of looks around, see if anybody's looking, and she places it down. And she says, "If you can cut the head off a snake, off of this snake, she'll looks like this." She said, "If you can cut the head off this snake without damaging the hood, then indeed you are the finest swordsman in the land. I caution you again. This metal, this material is very, very dense and collected from the finest or ored from the finest minerals. It's not as easy as you think. Your strike must be true and precise, and you can only make one strike. While the consequences don't seem so dire, a true swordsman would know the consequence of failure." And she'll put it on she'll put it on the table, and she'll kind of back up, and she won't cross her arms, but yeah, she'll cross her arms if she has like a quizzical, and she's clearly copying Solitude, a quizzical smile on her face, almost like she's interested to see what will happen. And I guess Gan could. I'm just making this up, but Gan could. You would kind of make up the DC or whatever save he needs to make. But yeah. So yeah, she'll back up and kind of see what he does.
I think Phelan will draw one of his katanas, or actually he will materialize it from space, and he will inspect the statue, not too close, but kind of apprehensively, and yeah, he's going to attempt to pass this test.
Go ahead and roll just a your melee attack.
Okay. So Phelan is going to close his eyes and raise the blade up. And as he does, the already black blade seems to get a little darker and the light kind of seems to get sucked in. And he's going to strike down.
Yeah, it will. The statue doesn't even move. It completely absorbs the blow, and you feel like the recoil because obviously since your your weapon is magic, it didn't break, so the kinetic energy is like received completely on your shoulders, and you feel like the reverberation of it. And she'll say, "A valiant effort, but I'm sorry, you are not the finest swordsman in the land, it seems. But it was an interesting contest nonetheless." And she'll pick it up and she'll put it back in her bag, and she'll see what he has to say.
Kind of rolling one shoulder backwards, not in too much pain, but kind of a slight discomfort. Like he felt that go through his arms and up his shoulders. He'll kind of glance your way and simply mention that I believe that just means there's room for me to grow. Maybe.
I believe. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm listening to you.
I believe it might be otherwise. I honestly expected you to pass this test. It may mean that there's something on your mind, something distracting you. Are your thoughts still with this cult, the cult that got you locked up in prison?
Phelan will kind of look up, not necessarily at anything, in kind of in thought, and he will slowly nod and look down, and he kind of fumbles with his blade, and you can see his thumb is running on the pommel as he decides on his next words. And I think he would be open to explaining. Still a little secretive though, as for him he's not too sure as to who he can fully trust, although he does trust the group, but there can always be spies among the friends. But I think in this moment he kind of feels that he can trust Singirin. And he will open up and mention that yes, this group, they hide in every corner and every shadow. I find myself looking over my shoulders everywhere I go. The prison was simply somewhere they could keep me from taking what is mine, my vengeance. You must keep an eye to the shadows, for that is where they strike.
You hear a door
And
open
these,
behind you, and one of the barflies from downstairs, the one that you were looking at specifically earlier, Singirin, you had kind of locked eyes with him, mohawked fellow, kind of takes a look at you all standing there having your conversation, then steps into his room, closes the door behind him.
Okay, I would note that. Huh. Seems like we shouldn't be having this conversation in private, in public. Well, I can tell this might be hard for you to talk about. Maybe we'll revisit it another time. But for the most part, I would like for you to know you are part of a powerful team now. We can accomplish a great many things. And maybe it's time for this cult to fear us or to fear you. And yep, she'll get up and she'll get to her room, I guess.
Phelan will follow in tow, kind of lost in thought. And you'll hear him whisper, "Thank you, Singuin."
Yeah, she'll nod. She'll nod, and kind of stoically, and she'll again doing her best Bluey impression this time, and yeah, she'll keep heading to her room.
Bluey passes you by as he kind of walks out of the room you're heading towards. Ah, Singurin. I spoke with Ursendel, and I've secured us a guide. He's staying here in the inn with us, and he's also, Duth has at least, arranged for a private stay while we are here. Basically, he's rented out the entire inn.
That's wonderful news. How are his spirits, Ursendel?
He was hesitant to serve as our guide, but in the case of his spirits, I must say he did seem elevated.
Getting revenge on his captors should do him good. And when she says revenge, she'll kind of look at Phelan.
Yes, I think stopping them serves two purposes now. By any means, we have our guide. I will take post downstairs in the bar. Rest well, friends. And Bluey begins to walk down the steps.
Yeah, yeah. She'll give him a nod also, and yeah, she'll head to her room.
Good night, Bluey.
Now it's time for me to find that.
Good night, Phelan. Also gives a nod to Voltai and a curious look at his mount.
I have no
Voltai
spatial
doesn't.
awareness. I didn't even notice he's there.
He
Until you
doesn't.
said so.
He doesn't make much. He doesn't like seem like he notices much as he's currently kind of getting nuzzled in. Elagos is getting laid into like a little ball, and he is sitting with his legs kind of hanging off the edge, leaning up against the crook of Elagos's belly to sleep because he's not going to sleep in that room. Not because y'all stink or anything, just because the whole roof thing is not something he's accustomed to.
W shrugs and goes back to the bar.
I find an unoccupied room.
With a knock on Percy's door. Excusez-moi, Percy.
Percy's like definitely already asleep, but she'll wake up when you knock. Come in.
Oh, I am sorry. I did not know you are already sleeping. I just wanted to check on you. I know that you had quite the day. Quite the day heroic.
It was yeah, it was a little more adventurous than I'm used to. But I'm good.
Oh. You are going to be getting the rest. Was your juice box to your satisfaction?
That was very nice, Solitude. Thank you.
All right,
You
good.
do know me well.
I will have another one on ice for you in the morning.
I might need something stronger in the morning.
Oh, well, all right. I can that can be arranged. I believe at this establishment as well. It will be a pleasant surprise for you. Sorry to wake you. I was just wanted to check in on my mon ami before going to bed myself. I will see you in the morning.
Good night, Solitude.
And she goes downstairs to make arrangements for a juice box with a little shot glass of Zendrikian vodka.
Oh my god.
It's really early.
I was thinking more like coffee.
She didn't understand that at all.
That's great.
It's juice box with vodka and vodka chaser and a nice sugared glass cup of fresh fruit.
Roll
Percy.
roll an insight check real quick there, Percy.
Okay. Okay. I have to be able to spell insight. 20.
Yeah, you get the sense that when you kind of have that conversation that Solitude's not exactly talking about coffee or refreshments that might perk you up, or at least the ones that you are thinking of. So you would be, I think, cautious to sip at whatever she brings you.
That's good to know. I will remember that in the morning.
No forced Constitution saving throws or anything like that.
I think that's something I'm getting in the morning, right, Solitude?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Yep.
Ah. And Solitude goes to sleep.
It sounds like the rest of you have reached your sleeping point for the night. For those of you that don't sleep, going off to brood in a corner somewhere. As you guys wake the next morning, you find that the city is bright and it gives off just a green glow. Not sure if it's the water or the jungle surrounds, but it is beautiful in the morning. You can hear the distant sounds of birds and small animals making wonderful nature noises as you awake.
Jungle has a nice sound to it in town. The dinosaur sounds outside of town, not so much.
Solitude gets up, goes downstairs, gets the juice box, gets one for herself, brings it up, knocks on Percy's door. Percy, are you awake and decent?
Yep, come in. Percy's like just buttoning up like the last of her jacket.
Solitude sachets in, holding a nice little tray with the juice box centerpiece and a little empty little shot glass next to it, and the bowl of fruit. Here you are. Your breakfast is ready. You cannot go adventuring on an empty stomach, baby. I
Of
will
course.
see you downstairs shortly.
Thank you,
Kinda-
Solitude.
Yep, squats down and puts it on the floor and pats Percy on the shoulder and says, "See you in a bit, won't you?" And she saunters out.
Percy will definitely eat the fruit. But she'll find like a planter or something to pour the the drink into.
Plant stock. Plant burns.
Percy is so consistent. She's so consistent.
Joke's on her. He poured the shot in her cup of fruit.
No.
Put fruit in it.
You have a
Soak
spiked
it
fruit
overnight.
cup.
Solitude feels quite pleased with herself, feeling she's done a good deed already. Sits down and heads down and waits for
After consorting with demons last night.
the
It's all about balance.
Yeah, when you come out, you find GMW is already at the bar and drinking.
GMW, if you're at the bar and
Jesus,
already
man.
drinking, which yes, we may need to have a talk outside of the session. I'm just kidding. No, we would definitely have had some conversation, me and you as GMW and Drums. Drums has been telling you basically this morning that she found out early this morning that Dandar Ashta has been murdered. And Dandar Ashta is the head honcho of the Ashta clan, which is one of the 3 clans of House Thrask here in Zantash'k.
Wow.
And it's a pretty big deal. There's not a lot of murders that happen here. This is there's definitely sense that there's some sort of foul play or something that has occurred that is wrongful. It's not natural causes. He's found with his throat slit in his bed, and the Ashta clan is obviously up in arms right now. The son of Dandar is up in arms, trying to organize some sort of a revolt, and to try and calm this or quell this. Both Duth and Magrim Torn, who are the other respective leaders of the Veldarin and the Torn clans, are meeting with him at the moment. And they're near House Veldarin, where you'd first met Duth. Gathered there almost like in group or public discussion. There's a few people that have begun to gather, but the few turn to a crowd pretty quickly. And there's basically a long debate going on right now. And the long and short of it is Kundar Ashta is trying to assert himself as the leader of the Ashta clan, with his father having been murdered, and also he's doing that by, relentlessly claiming that there's foul play and that one of the other clans was involved, and that there must be an accounting for this, heinous action that's occurred. I guess Drum spent most of the morning down there listening to this. They've taken a short recess and plan to reconvene around noon time. You guys probably around 10 a.m. right now. You slept in pretty late. It's a long night of drinking last night with GMW.
Don't try to match him.
Definitely don't do that.
But you think that you probably have enough time to get something to eat, have some discussion between yourselves, and then head over in that direction if you want to catch the tail end of the conversation, or the conclusion of that conversation, which is likely who is to now take over the Ashta clan, what's to be done about Dandar Ashta's murder, and more so how it may play into some of the things that have happened to you already while you were here, and what's Duth's role in all this, who is your really only point of contact amongst the Veldarin, Torn, and Ashta clans. So there's a lot of names going on.
All right.
I assume she tells us all this like when we get down. She's not just talking to GW.
Yeah, she starts the story talking to GMW, but as you guys filter into the bar, she's just sort of talking to everybody, pouring you all drinks seamlessly and serving you food. You find that without having to tell her what you want, she knows what you want. Even if it's nothing, you'll be served nothing.
Coffee.
She's a professional.
Steaming black coffee in front of you.
Oh, yes.
And it is rich and smells delicious.
It's perfect.
Get
I
the
was going to
sense.
say too. Were you going to say, Ken?
Well, I was just going to say, you get the sense that she has some mild telekinetic or telepathic powers, I should say.
Uh-oh. So I was going to say, what is your feeling on this matter? You know these parts better than us. What is your sense of the situation?
Kundarashta is a slime. And if it's between me and you, I do think that there's some Ashta members that are working with those cults out in the jungles. Something's just not right about them.
Do you think we should postpone our trip? Does this complicate things?
At least worthy of seeing how it plays out before you leave.
Percy will just add, if we can spare the time, we might want to go take a look. People often lash out when they're angry and hurt kind of people that aren't involved. Maybe we can diffuse some of the tension or help figure out who happened or what happened and who's responsible.
Or appear as convenient scapegoats.
Drums also
Daniel
mentions.
mutters.
I think Duth's got our back there.
So long
Yeah.
as Duther remains in charge and does not lose control of the situation. Perhaps we should go there to ensure that that continues to be the status quo.
Percy thinks about Duth getting murdered and is instantly anxious. Thank you, Solitude.
Well, someone is definitely interested in the destabilization of this city, that's certain.
Drums also mentions, as she was having some conversation with GMW, you said earlier in this morning, GMW had mentioned something of the party's desires to shop till they drop, and had also basically asked for the location of somewhere that they could do so. And Drums had also shared that just past House Darren, just a little bit further past House Darren, you would be able to find a large marketplace with several foreign and local traders with all sorts of various goods, ranging from artificer services to spell scribes to beastmasters. Not your average shops.
Ooh, foreign traders. Perhaps I can get another outfit for the ballet dancing.
Yeah, Drums takes the time to kind of brag that they boast one of the largest marketplaces in Cendric, even rivaling Stormreach.
Solitude gives a respectful nod to Drums as she digs into her crepes, her blueberry and raspberry crepes, and whipped butter with a cappuccino. And
Ooh.
yes, frothy cappuccino in a glass mug. How did you find this? I have never had that. This meal on these planets, to be quite honest.
Drums simply just winks and continues barkeeping.
Drizzles some maple syrup on the crepe. Looking quite pleased. Well, if everyone is about finished with the eating, I suppose we should get headed over there before, I don't know, a revolution occurs on our watch.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, allez-vous. Allons-y. Let us go. I guess we start heading over to the
Yeah.
House Thrashk house.
Yeah.
House.
Yeah. Can you put something over where we're supposed to be walking to so I don't get lost this time?
Like a big sphere, and hopefully that'll help. You guys just zoom out. That should help you find it. And
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Let me zoom out real quick.
this is
Okay, I
literally
see it.
looking south from the lizard hut or the lizard house. So you go
Over the bridge.
over the bridge. Yep, just keep heading south to that large pyramid-looking like building. You see a gathering of people outside, and some of them look concerned, some of them look worried, some of them look scared, others just look angry. At the center of the group, you see Duth Veldaren and Derek Veldaren, his sort of right-hand man, Magram Torn, and Kundar Ashta. Kundar being the sole representative of the Ashta clan. Usually meetings like these he would attend with his father. Given his untimely and recent demise, he looks stoic, staring at the faces of his, I don't want to say rival clan members, but maybe opposing clan members. You must calm yourself, Kundar. It is necessary for us to meet out the events that have occurred leading up to your father's death before we point the fingers at any one party. I want vengeance for my father. I want vengeance for him now. I don't want to have to wait, and neither do any members of the Ashta clan. Let us use what we have most beneficial to us. And he reveals his mark of finding on his wrist. Let me find and track down the scum who did this, and bring him to justice. As I've told you before you brought me the ill news of your father's passing, it is quite necessary that we devote most of our resources to the problems at hand. As I said, I am most grieved to hear about the passing of your father. He was a great, great orc, and a good friend. At this, Kundar sort of scoffs, as if to minimize the so-called friendship between Duth and what was once the great leader of the Ashta clan, Dandar Ashta. Oh yes, Kundar. Me and your father were friends once, and quite close. Politics have a funny way of bringing people apart. It is no matter. You must devote all of your forces towards the problems that we have at hand that I have discussed already. He says, kind of taking note that there are several common citizens and ears that he doesn't want to share the necessary information about the cult of the dragons below and the various Yuan-Ti cultists that may be involved with these cult of the dragon below characters, or maybe the cult themselves. And the other plots that go along with that, of course, which would be the freeing of all Dalkir, the bringing about of darkness onto the lands of Eberron. Really not a nice thing in general. The birth and commandeering of an anathema to control the mass monster army.
Small things, little things.
These are things that Duth hints at subtly with his masked words through gritted teeth, as he is much older than Kundar and speaks to him as an elder would speak to a child. An angry one at that, as Kundar is in that state currently. Magram speaks up finally. Yes, Duth speaks the truth. For once, and perhaps because it is to his own benefit, perhaps because it is to all of ours. Either way, I see it as our only option. We have no choice, Kundar. You must lead your people as your father would have wanted you to. You must tell them what is happening and explain the challenges and tribulations ahead. Commit them to the task. Then we will find what happened to your father. For now, we give him a proper burial. Kudar kind of slams his sword down in the stone. Obviously, not happy with these distractions, these suggestions that he should stop looking for his father's killer. And certainly, any of you could probably understand. But his face takes on a look of realization as he nods in agreement and simply mutters under his breath, "Very well." Then it is settled. We are divided in our purposes. We will go our separate ways, says Duth. And at this point, Makram and her human compatriot begin to cross the bridge, heading northwest.
Meeting appears to be breaking up.
Yes.
Again, you said they're heading northwest.
Yes, Magram and her companion are heading northwest. Duth heads back up the steps with Derek into his building.
Monsieur Verderin,
Yeah.
one second.
He stops on the steps as Solitude mentions something to him.
Go up and... Is everything all right in order? That was quite a shock to the system to have a leader of the house be assassinated. Do you have any suspects, any suspicions? Is there anything we can do to be of assistance? Or should we focus on Serpentia?
It is rather unfortunate, the passing of Dandar. As I said, he was a friend, despite what his son may think. I do not know who has killed Dandar, and cannot see any reason as to why anyone would. He was always honorable in his dealings, and had very few enemies. Those who did not be brave enough to find their way to Zendrik and do what was done to him. No, this seems more personal. But to answer your question, Serpentia is the utmost important danger we face at present. Whatever murderer may lurk about the city streets is but a speck of dust to the great storm that is coming.
Very well.
Can I insight check his him saying that finding the killers is important?
Yes. You get this sense. Oh, that's not your insight check. That's Percy's. That's your insight check.
15.
Get the sense that he is speaking from the heart.
Okay. All right.
Doesn't seem like there's going to be a big fight or brawl anytime soon here. I think we're good.
Oui, d'accord. I believe this
I
is
think
a.
there's much we can do.
We could help them look into this later, perhaps, especially if it becomes a bigger problem.
Oui, Duth wishes us to focus on Serpentia, and so focus on her we shall. It looks like this uprising has been quelled for now, but you are right, Zamiel. It may boil over later.
I feel it necessary to mention that my quarry, Verg, is also part of the Ashta clan, whom we have recently been told lies with the cults in the jungle.
Maybe that's connected.
Yeah, it's an interesting coincidence.
I don't believe in coincidences.
Yes, me neither.
I do. Just drugs.
As they say in Faerun, says Bluey, like trying to offer a joke towards Solitude.
Okay. You are a quick study, Michel Louis. Merci.
Bluey smiles.
Let us pick up the rest of our equipments and head out while we still have some daylight ahead of us. D'accord? We agreed?
Sounds good.
To the market.
Allons-y to the market.
Bluey
Le
just
supermarché.
begins walking off like he knows where he's going.
Hey, if I trust anybody, I trust Bluey.
Hey, Gan, quick question. You said they walked to the north west. What is to the northwest? Like, where would they, if Gurren was to kind of like follow them or, look in their direction as they walked off, where would they be walking to
They headed up
within that control?
They headed up the steps into a building nearby. As soon as they got across that bridge leading to the northwest, they headed up this grand staircase that led to what looked like a multi-layered building with many different rooms in it. Presumably, that would be House Torn.
Okay.
Because the building that you guys were in front of was House Feldaren.
Fair enough.
And Kundar actually headed in the same direction you guys are heading. But you don't see him anywhere in sight. As you guys get down this first staircase, Bluey points in the direction of what looks like a large canvas canopy roofed area to the southeast of this direction and begins heading that way.
Gan, these maps, man. You're just always on point.
Thank God for the compass.
Yes, I sense this one's been expanded ahead of time for good reason.
Oh, yes.
Hells yeah.
As we're walking, I'm going to pick up the Bluey. Hey, Bluey, I have a bit of a question historique for you. figure you would be the one to go to for information such as these. Do you have a moment?
Bluey stops and just kind of leans down in Solitude's direction.
Do you remember the blade that Asimodeus wielded back at the prison in Ashatakala?
As I recall, he did not wield it, but we found it in his quarters there.
Is there a name for the weapon that he carries? Does he call it anything?
I know not of its name, if it has one. I am sorry, Solitude. Why do you ask?
I have heard the talk of an item called the Blade of Misery. I was wondering if that was the strange blade that we could not move that belonged to Asmodeus. I have an interest, obviously, in weakening him.
If anything would
This
have
is
an item of misery, I would expect it to be that monstrosity. But no, I can't say I know the name of the item.
Let's see. Do you know of any place for research? For me to confirm that it is the name of his blade, or perhaps I am looking for another item altogether, or maybe I am just confused. Some military history or history of artifacts and so forth, either on this continent or in other.
Where did you first come across this Blade of Misery reference, if you don't mind me asking, Solitude?
It came from me from investigation into the prophecy Draconic.
I see.
I believe it has a part to play in the prophecy.
Thus you search for answers like the rest of us. Yes.
Always searching.
I will keep my mind tuned to such a blade. Should I find its location, whereabouts, or information upon it, you will be the first I share it with.
Merci, Monsieur Bluey.
Bluey looks to be taking some sort of mental note. You hear that whirring sound in his head when he thinks real hard.
And that's it. I kind of leave him to his own devices, start looking around for the magical storage items shop.
Bluey eventually leads you to this large canopied building, and you see that there is indeed just stall upon stall upon stall. Literally anything you could want, you can find it here, and if you can't find it here, then you probably wouldn't want it.
That's their slogan. Nailed it.
You see that? You see that? Yeah, you see that bannered across the wall somewhere. But there is various stalls, so you guys feel free to kind of browse around, peruse around, or just tell me directly what you're looking for, and I can help you find it.
I think for Percy, she just needs to stock up on spell ingredients and healing supplies.
The first couple stalls that you see are a potions master and some various merchants and traders that stock all of those sort of supplies. When they see you, each of them are kind of vying for your business and begin offering you discounts at varying levels.
Yeah, let's go. Negotiation I can do. I'd be interested if they have anything they think is unique or special to like their wares.
After throwing their various levels of discounts your way, and being posed with the question of sort of like, hey, what's your best potion, or what do you got? Where's the hard stuff? uh, they all kind of begin scrambling for what they or what they believe is their most rare or most fantastic concoction. And they all do produce something for you. One has a small vial of pink fluid. The other has a similar sized vial that has a square bottom and is this not as pretty brown looking liquid that has also small little floating chunks in it. Doesn't look too appetizing.
Mm.
And the last one has like a circular looking orb glass. And this is something that actually is truly beautiful to look at. It has like a sapphire blue color to it, and it's clear. You can see through it. And he holds it up to his eye, and it magnifies the size of his eye and also distorts it to a ridiculous size. As he kind of brandishes it in your direction. All of them are speaking at once, so it's impossible to hear what they're saying they are holding in their hands. But after they calm down enough to speak one at a time, the one with the pink vial claims that this is the filter of love. Whoever drinks this potion will be charmed by the next creature it sees within 10 minutes for a duration of 1 hour. Slip it into someone's drink. Find them much more eager to fulfill your desires, he says in a creepy sort of way. And then the person that's holding the brown liquid, the merchant, nonsense, nonsense, nonsense. You don't need something like that. Evil deeds, anyway. Drink this. You'll see that there's no animal you can't find a friend in. Drinking it will allow you to basically perform the animal friendship spell. With a save of DC 13 for 1 hour at will. The one that's holding the sapphire sphere sort of elbows both of these merchants out of the way. And he does so with sort of an air of superiority, that he often wins these sort of transactional scraps amongst these three. He holds up the spherical glass to you and says, allow me to present the oil of etherealness, a rare concoction. Cover yourself with it. Apply it to your skin. You will gain the effect of the etherealness spell for 1 hour.
Zamiel's gonna look at GMW and then point at him and then point at the potion and make like an indication that this might be useful for something. For thievery.
I will talk to the one with the fire potion first and say, I am just a humble healer. I have no use for such elaborate spell work. Not to mention, I suspect that is way out of my price range. And then I turn to the one with the pink vial and explain, I value honesty above all, and that is a dishonest way to charm another when I could do so with just the power of honesty and truth. And I would never use something like that.
Yeah, right. We know you abuse your enchantment spells, you prick.
And then I
Deflated.
turned to the
I would never.
Deflated, they both slink away.
I turned to the one with the brown potion and ask, there are giant creatures in that jungle. Giant, terrifying creatures. Ones that could probably end me just by stepping on me. Is this something that's effective for that type of creature?
Ah, I knew you were cunning when I saw you walk underneath the canopies. Yes, yes indeed. Any creature.
What sort of. Without knowing your reputation as a local, how do I know this will truly work?
Well, I've had a stall here for 5 years now.
He puffs up his chest proudly.
I am only as good as my work. I'd be run out of town if I was selling swill water.
Percy kind of considers and. Well, with what I've seen so far, that may be true. I'm afraid it may be quite expensive based on the power of this befriending any animal. What are you asking for it?
Go ahead and roll negotiation here.
From across the way, Solitude says, "Do not forget to stock up on the juice boxes, Percy. You will be out in the wilderness for several days."
Just Percy traveling with a bunch of juice boxes. Oh, I feel like Solitude is like the coddling mother that Percy doesn't need.
You just roll
Diplomacy, is that
a persuasion check.
persuasion? Okay.
Got a bandolier of juice
Nat
boxes
20,
in the
let's
jungle.
go.
Oh,
Natty.
wow.
Natters. Natty gnats.
I can see that you have a keen sense of taste, as well as a knowledge for items like this. And a good bit of skepticism, too, I might add.
Yeah, it's about your comment. Will it work or not?
Yeah.
I will offer you 2 for the price of 1, or 1 at half the normal cost. It is up to you, based on the amount you'd like to buy.
I'd be interested in 2 for the price of 1, depending on what the price of 1 is. They don't look particularly palatable.
The taste leaves something to be desired.
He says, unfortunately. But he tells you that he can give you 2 for 100 gold pieces. 50 gold pieces apiece.
I mean, I'm hoping my character knows if that's a good bargain or not.
I would say you get a sense that it's a fair deal. It's definitely cheaper than an item like that would normally be.
This particular buyer, do you have any basic medical field supplies, sutures, salves that you might be willing to throw in for that 100 gold?
He looks around his shop and begins to pull a leather pouch together and begins to kind of stuff bandages and splints and various salves and things like that into it. And he hands you a complete healer's kit.
I suppose for a customer like you, it's only fair.
I will give him a small little bow and say, thank you, sir. I will remember your business, and if these potions work as well as you claim, I will do business with you again.
Oh yes, spread the word, he says as he counts the coin that you've given him.
If these taste as bad as you say, she kind of gives him a wink. You may not want me to spread the word.
He kind of just chuckles to himself, knowing that you'll be the one suffering that joke last.
True. Awesome.
Tasty, tasty brown chunks.
Mm.
Ew.
Like, as a healer, Percy understands it doesn't have to taste good to be effective.
Or look good. And I love that you out of all the descriptive words used chose the one that looked the yuckiest. I'm sure that we're probably based off of its abilities, but
Yeah,
you,
that
you
looks terrible. It probably works. I'll take that one.
Mhm.
I love it.
That's all
Well,
Percy needs.
Solitude is looking for the magical container store.
you don't see a magical container store, but you do find an artificer who's kind of like crafting all different sorts of items, and you do see various containers of magical nature within his store, leading you to believe this may actually be the magical container store. But if you walk in and say, "Is this a magical container store?" immediately the artificer's going to turn and go, "No! And why does everybody keep asking me that?"
Bonjour, monsieur. Je m'appelle Solitude. Comment ça va? How are you doing today? I am in the market for how do you say additional storage options. Uh, ideally something that you could perhaps put inside of this bag, and she pulls out her cool dark leather satchel. You know, so that right now it is pretty stuffed. If there was some extra dimensional space that could be installed inside of it so that it could hold additional items, that would be a perfect amount. If not, perhaps I have heard of a hole that is portable that you can open and put things into and then close back up. One or the other or both would be something that I am most certainly looking for.
He walks over to one of the walls and just rips one of the tapestries off the wall, and it reveals like a hidden area of the shop where you see like a sign that says bag of holding, another sign that says portable holes, another sign that says handy haversacks, and he begins to like Vanna White the area of the wall as he points to the handy haversack first. Right, the handy haversack, your first monicum of storage in the adventuring Eberron world. Can hold up to 20 pounds of material, not exceeding a volume of 2 cubic feet. Large central pouch can hold up to 8 cubic feet. He begins just reading the specs of handy haversack out loud to you as if you cared about every single detail of it.
It is not my color scheme, and it looks a little too clunky, a little too masculine for me. I don't like the zipper on the side either. So perhaps something a bit more elegant.
He waves his hand over it, and immediately it changes to like a different style, more like Solitude-esque, very gothic, black, a couple tassels on there, some spikes sticking out various sides of it.
All
Oh,
right, all
Louis
right. Now
Vuitton.
we are getting there. We um. Could I put that inside of this bag so that I could maintain the exterior of the one I have and but increase the size of the interior many times?
He asks what kind of bag you currently have and asks you to show it to him.
She looks left, she looks right. It is a killer satchel. And she sets it uh, in
I'm a
front of him.
mimic.
Remind me, because I know your satchel is like something else than a satchel.
Yeah, it's got a hidden compartment at the bottom where she keeps her dagger of blind sight and other interesting things, and it's also got the handles that come off and form the garret.
But it doesn't have any extra dimensional space within inside
No,
of it. No.
no, it is
Okay.
an
All right.
ordinary statue.
Okay.
Yes.
He like basically like asks like, "May I?" and asks
Oui,
if he can look at your bag real quick.
oui.
He sort of like prods around in it in a way that you didn't expect him to. He starts like dumping stuff out of it, and
Ooh. You
a-
might not want to leave that book out there on the so everyone can see. She like takes the demonic tome, and like tucks it under her robe.
he takes zero care of any item that falls falls out of this thing, as you
Yeah,
can see that he's just like
daggers,
enthralled with your
poison. Yeah.
satchel. But he explains that for a small customization fee, certainly he could arrange to have this haversack fit with inside the satchel.
And Gan, would that work, or is that does that give me enough space, or I need something more storage than just a haversack? Because she wants to like be able to store the shards and stuff like that.
It's
Like,
20 pounds of material, 80 pounds of 80 total pounds of material. I don't think that this is going to be what you want. So like already it doesn't seem like the optimal item.
yeah, yeah. I need something bigger, a bigger space.
Of course, of course. You need bigger. Bigger is better. Better is the best. And he walks over to the bag of holding and portable hole section. Either of these should suffice, but it really is going to come down to your practical use of the function or of the item. Tell me, what are you planning to store?
Oh, well, a little of this, a little of that. I have come across recently a significant amount of the shards, Eberron and Siberius shards. Every once in a while, I come across a bunch of adamantine ore and may need to stash it. And maybe one day in the future, a huge amount of gold from a casino vault may need to be, stuffed into a container. You never know, as we say in Faerun. So,
Samuel elbows Solitude.
he is a professional. He gets questions like these all the time.
I think the portable hole suits your needs. He looks at the few that he's got. They look like basically like sheets. Each of them looks like a circular black sheet or like a tablecloth, if you will. They're about 10 feet wide, and they're folded up and like hung nicely on the wall. He pulls one of them off, and it kind of matches the haversack that he had originally showed Solitude. someone said Louis Vuitton, which is just awesome.
Yes, yes, yes. Or it's like the hole is like black on one side and red on the bottom.
Zamiel whispers to Solitude, that portable hull and that potion of etherealness are probably what you need for that heist. And he says it as quietly as he can, like whispering in your ear.
Oh, wait, no, see, zombie out. Where did you see the potion of etherealness?
The potions dealer had it. I was over there with Percy.
Okay. Wait, okay. Yeah, I will take the whole potable, the sleek black one with the red under bottom.
Oh, it's actually the potion stall is right next to the artificer one. Actually,
Wow.
they can probably hear what we're saying.
How much for the hole, the potable hole?
A small gnome had entered the shop around the same time you guys did, and is basically shopping in the kind of restricted section area, unbeknownst to the salesperson who's kind of been distracted with you guys the whole time. And he has since picked up one of the handy haversacks and sort of festooned the haversack with one of these nice looking tablecloths he doesn't know is a portable hole. Unfortunate to him, he's sort of like grabbing them both. You know when you're shopping, you start to put stuff under your arm, kind of just all gets squished together. Well, all of a sudden the handy haversack just kind of vanishes from out from under his armpit, and you see him almost fall over as the gap between his arm and his armpit and chest there suddenly shrinks to just the size of the handy black tablecloth that he was holding. He looks curiously, and you see that suddenly the shopkeeper notices this just as you ask for the price of the portable hole, and he begins shouting at the gnome and cursing him and taking the portable hole that he's holding out of his hand, and saying something about how the price of that is going to come out of him for this, and you buy all these various shopkeeper colloquialisms that are spoken throughout the lands of Eberron. And after hearing that, you hear that the portable hole is worth approximately 650 gold pieces.
She roots around in her bag and produces the funds. Any chance that you have a discount of any sort for travelers who have come from another world entirely? I am from the Faerun. I could perhaps put in a word for you. Maybe you can have some franchise opportunities back there when I return.
I'll give you 50 gold pieces off this if you make sure to never mention that blasted magical container shop that I keep hearing about again.
Oui, I shall make sure to do that. 600 gold, here you go. I will pay him that and then head over and try to get that potion of etherealness too.
Mumbles
We don't have to.
something about Carlictonians under his breath as you walk out.
Merci. All right, that'll do it for me. We don't have to RP me getting the potion because I don't want to take up all the time.
Just for context, there's a magical container shop in Carlicton.
It doesn't like you calling it that, though.
Solitude has a special membership there.
You can't charm everybody unless you use your magic.
Portable hole.
But then you're just as bad as that nasty. Was that the potion shop master who was talking that shit about charming people?
Yeah, that was one of the creepy potion guys. He's basically just like openly selling roofie potions to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird.
Oh man.
I'll try to get the potion of etherealness too, and then I'm good to go.
I sense an opportunity for extortion on this creeper. Zamiel says quietly.
He certainly needs to work on his salesmanship skills, says Bluey, looking disapprovingly at the potions master. As you look further down the way, you can see that there's cleric services, beastmaster, spell scribes, alchemists, herbalists.
Any armorers or smiths?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, right there at the front, when you first walk in, a couple stalls down on the right, there should be a smith. His name is McKendrick.
Ooh, it's a good smith name. Good smith name.
Yeah.
And he's like holding a beer in one hand, and he's got what looks like a handle, like of some kind of a smithing tool, bitten in between his teeth, and then the hammer part of that smithing tool held in his hand, and he looks mildly drunk. He's also singing something, but with the handle in his mouth, it's indescribable.
I think Phelan would peruse, see what he's got.
As you look around his shop, you can see ranging from suits of armor to small melee weapons, daggers, blades, all the way up to great swords and axes, long javelins and jousting tools.
Anything magical in nature.
You get the sense that everything in the shop is of a magical nature. Nothing seems to be ordinary, and all seems to have a certain level of craftsmanship.
Is there anything that might catch Phelan's eye? Maybe a little more than.
Let's see here. I think what would stand out most to you in this shop as you kind of peruse through all the various maces and swords and uh, single-handed weapons that are of your fancy would be a mace, and it looks like it has uh, bones uh, that are made up of the handle, kind of maybe magically adhered together somehow. And you're not sure, but it looks like the bones of various different creatures, kind of all smushed together.
What is that ghastly looking weapon?
He burps and hiccups. Bone counter. Need to make some silver? Grab the bone counter. It'll cost you, though.
And what's it going to cost?
Silver for silver, of course. 1,000 silver pieces. It's yours. You'll make it back, I'm sure. He explains that whenever you kill an undead creature with this, a single silver piece just appears in your pocket.
Mhm.
That's the coolest thing I've heard.
Interesting. I know someone who might make use of this. 1,000 silver, you say?
Silver for silver.
That's an interesting piece. I think you have a deal.
He provides you with a sort of, not a scabbard, but a holder that can be attached to one's shoulder, so it can be easily drawn from your back.
Hmm. Perfect. Thank you.
And with this holster, you can switch between your weapon and this weapon without any kind of penalty, meaning it won't require an action. So, um, the reverse, however, is not the same. So basically, putting it away and re-equipping whatever weapon you had would cost you an action.
Nice.
If you were mid-combat, of course.
Mm-hmm. Well, remove the gold or silver, or in this case, with the converted cost of gold here.
You hit the currency exchange before paying him. He accepts a gold equivalent.
Okay, so that would be 100 gold.
Yep.
Right? Okay. That's on my inventory.
I think something that would stick out to Singurin too. You notice that there's like a bunch of tiny little snakes. They're like the size of the thickness of your finger, maybe the length of a ruler. 10, 12 inches long. I know rulers are all 12 inches long. But these little snakes are 10 to 12 inches long. Varying in sizes, but all the same brilliant green hue.
She'll point to them and say to Percy, "Oh, look at these! Aren't these adorable?" And she smiles as she looks at them.
I suppose if you like snakes.
And the
Is this at the same?
genus would be
Oh,
like
go ahead,
they're
Serge.
like a ophidian. They have
Okay.
green scales and they can get big. You would know that these guys can get up to like 15 feet long. However, these have a silvery like eyes and they shine brightly, even the small ones. And the babies in their infantile state, if you look at that, silvery shine in their eyes, it almost has like an alluring quality to it. You get focused on it. You suddenly lose your focus on your surroundings. However, it doesn't overtake you. and you're able to snap out of it, knowing that there's some sort of sedating quality about the gaze of those silvery eyes.
Is this at the same shop that Phelan was in?
Nearby there, Phelan kind of walked the gamut, and when he reached the end of it, if you were walking by him, it would have been like the last shop in the line down here at the end. But these snakes are kind of like skittering all around everywhere within the. There's been a breakout within the merchants' tents.
Okay. Does it look like somebody's trying to collect them, or does it look like somebody is trying to like get after them?
You do see a Beastmaster down the hall that looks like they're, grabbing at a few of the snakes as they dart from his hands quickly. And they seem to be doing a pretty good job of eluding him at the moment. And he looks to be like an orc of more nomadic look to him. He's got, various furs and antlers sticking out of his cap, and he carries like a small stick with a skull on top of it. It looks like a rook's head.
Okay. She'll say, "You look like you have your hands full there. Do you need some assistance?"
Ah, blasted babies getting out of the crate. I guess it's my fault. I put their feed in the crate next to them. Must have smelled it. Knocked themselves over. Quite a mess, quite a mess.
He like looks around, pointing at the various skittering baby snakes.
They begin to behave as they get older.
He points to a few larger looking snakes that are kind of sitting lazily coiled up atop one of his counters. These snakes are about 8 feet long. They look much thicker, and their beautiful silver eyes, they glow in this sort of dim light that is illuminating the tent area here.
Very interesting specimens indeed. What are these?
Dream serpents, dream serpents. Kulashtak to the drow. Have you heard of them?
I have not.
Magical
What is this
creatures.
silver like?
They have hallucinatory effects in their venom. Their eyes, they can entrance a person at their mature state. These are not yet mature, though. They may be able to keep you here, tantalized for a while. Drooling from your gaping mouth,
He says with a smirk falling across his face.
Interesting. And how big does one get when it's full grown? The size of these? You said the other ones were like 8 feet?
Yeah, these ones are like 8 feet, and they haven't reached their full maturity yet. He tells you about double the size of the ones you see over there.
God damn. Can't put that in a bag of holding. Let's see. Let's see. She'll say, how much would it take, or how much gold would it take to leave with one of the little ones?
He tells you that these in particular are probably about 100 gold pieces a piece.
Oh!
And he tells you that there's a method he can teach you, for free, of course, if you were to take both of them off his hands.
that can keep them at their same size, although it would involve starving them a bit.
No, she can't do that. She'll say, "That's quite all right. I believe I have a similar pet, a serpentine pet, waiting for me back at home, anyways. But I would ask you, how would you tell how long it is before one of your eggs hatch? Is there a way of dating an egg, seeing how long it is before it's born?"
It depends on the species. What kind of eggs do you have?
That's the thing. I don't exactly know.
He looks intrigued.
It's
Could you bring them to me?
maybe.
Or if you cannot
Um,
bring them to me,
He's saying this like a man desperate or an orc desperate to get an understanding of what you may have as a seeker of rare species and trades. He gave him a description of the eggs.
he said, "I don't have it on me. I don't know where it is currently." She's lying. But I can show you a picture. And she'll make a minor illusion. And for the benefit of people who haven't seen it, she'll show him Orochi's egg. Let me get it up. I put that. Yeah, she'll show him a picture of Orochi's egg. And she'll ask, how long is it before it hatches?
Ah, yes. Do you see these soft sides here?
On this one, he points to one of the eggs.
The dents, the denting, that is.
He starts to point to several dents that you can see, depressions in the actual egg itself where it looks like the egg is sunken in.
It is a sign of a lack of humidity.
Oh no.
Yes, you have a real problem there. You need to incubate them in a place that is more humid.
Would you have this type of incubation on you? I would assume as a handler you would have such.
He walks over to the table and you see like a small steel oval-like contraption. It has a hinge on the back of it, and he opens it up to reveal that it has a hollowed center.
Place them in here. Seal it tight. And twist this handle 3 times, to be sure.
He shows you mimicking tightening the handle.
Would this contraption be able to hold 2 eggs?
He smiles, walks over to the table, and grabs a second contraption.
Unfortunately, no.
Happy to have a second sale.
See. Yeah, and she'll offer to buy both.
You buy the incubators for a pretty novel price, around 2 silver per.
Oh, nice.
And
Okay.
gives you
All right.
a description of how long you're to keep them in there for, how often you're to burp them or allow them to breathe, so to speak. And he tells you that based on the signs of those dents, he should expect that the egg with the severe denting should hatch sometime within the next 8 weeks.
Okay. All right.
The other one,
Okay.
tough to say, but he would guess
Yeah.
between 10 and 16 weeks.
Okay.
And to give you a description of which ones he's talking about, I'm going to send you a DM.
All right, sweet. Okay. Yeah, she'll give him the silver pieces and she'll be on her way. I did want to find one more thing. Is there like I don't mean to take too much time either. Is there like a can you slide dog? Okay. Yeah, I don't mean it to take too much time, so I'll be a little quicker with this one. Is there like a regular blacksmith, like somebody who makes like everyday items, like hammers or nails or just like mundane things?
Yeah, that drunken fool. He's kind of specializes in the more magical quality, but you do see the Beastmaster has various tools and weaponry back in his stalls.
Okay. Yeah, so she'll ask, she just wants a mundane, either a latch or a hook. She wants to have something she can hook her lyre to, and she can like kind of hook it to her belt. So that in combat she can hold the spear with two hands, and when she wants to play something, she can just reach on her hip and like string a couple of notes to use the lyre.
He sort of brings out what every person probably has in their garage, a large container with a bunch of various hooks and screws and fasteners and washers and things of that nature, and allows you to peruse it freely, telling you that each trinket that you find is a single copper piece.
Okay. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, she'll take one of those and said one copper piece.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, she'll give him that, and she'll take one of those, and that's it.
I feel like I'm
Yeah, and that's it for me.
100% on the shopping experiences so far. Come at me, pokes. Bring it, bring it. If you want the cool stuff, this is the place to get it.
Yeah, I'll get the oil of etherealness. How much would it cost? Too much. Too much.
The oil of etherealness. Yes, too much is a fair assessment. It is rather pricey. The oil of etherealness is going to cost 1,250 gold pieces.
Knew it
I
was out of my
will
price
buy it.
range.
I will buy it for an even 1,000.
It's extremely rare. It refuses to let it go for anything less than 1,001 on principle.
Okay, 1,001. I'll buy it.
He shakes your hand, feeling as though he's won the deal.
I look at GMW. It is an investment.
Oh,
The plan comes together.
GMW just gives you a wink.
oh yeah, I will say. So she looks at DMW, and then she'll look for that plant that you mentioned, that Cariva. Cariva. How you pronounce it?
I don't know.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I have no idea how to pronounce it either, so I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to say that
Yeah.
there is an herbalist down the way who has many fragrant herbs and beautiful, brilliant-looking fruits displayed on a large-looking cart. And among them, you see what looks like a cross between a strawberry and a grape. And you find it to be rather curious, having never seen such a fruit before. And if you were to inquire, you would find it as a K word.
Yeah, she'll see if she can buy that, like a I don't know the quantity.
I mean, they're
I don't know the.
in like flower like bushes basically, or bushels, I should say.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's kind of how that she's got them arranged. It looks like a bouquet of flowers, but at the the spot where there should be normally like rosebuds, you see these beautiful grape strawberry hybrid looking fruit, and they're beautiful looking purple color.
Okay. Yeah, she'll ask the shopkeep how much for like a month's supply of those. And if she were to, dry them and grind them up, if they would last, for a month. And she would ask if she has any Zendrick tobacco also.
Ah, a smoker. Haven't had smokers in a while. Everybody's chewing it these days. Maloo's distillery down in Stormreach is gonna be running a special on their Kuyeva gin. They've also started selling Suka. It's a form of Kuyeva laced with dream lily,
She says under her breath.
but a month's supply I could let go for 10 gold pieces. And that's half what I'm charging Maloo's.
And how about your finest tobacco?
Oh, the tobacco I could include for free. A week's supply, a month's? What will settle you?
Knowing this person, maybe a year's supply.
Ah, hefty smoker.
You see her reach under what looks to be some sort of a small table, and she pulls out like a large leather satchel, and she just kind of thunks it down on the table, and it sounds like very dense.
Okay, yeah. And she'll say, would a man who shoots crossbows, would he fancy which type of paper would he fancy to roll these in?
Crossbows. Answer me this. Does he have a smell to him? Like he hasn't showered in a while, but still smells good for some reason.
It's more like the smell of polish.
Like an old boot.
She says, like almost like she's found the classification of person she's looking for. She pulls down what looks to be like a parchment style looking paper. They're rather thin. You can almost see through them if you hold them up to the light. And they're about 2 inches wide, maybe 3.5, 4 inches long, and they're very thin.
Just a little bit of moisture applied to it, and you'll find it seals quite nicely.
She demonstrates rolling some of the tobacco into a cigarette style.
See here?
How
Holds the finished product out to Singurin, offering a light as well.
very interesting. But I think I will leave the first taste for the intended.
Bluey just
And she'll,
reaches an arm over your shoulder and extinguishes the lighter with his 2 fingers.
Yeah, she'll hand over for the gold. So how much were the papers as well, like all together?
She's offering you a bulk deal, seeing as the tobacco is, it would be a few copper pieces at best. But she's making 10 gold off you with your large purchase of the Kuryeva.
Okay, yeah.
And
Yeah, she'll take it.
She asks if you're interested in any dream lily. She mentions that she does have a small quantity of it if you
have the right amount of discretion. She whispers this to you. Dream Lily is an opiate from Sarlona, so it would be a very illicit and illegal drug. But it does sometimes give the user psionic properties.
Whoa.
Okay. Yeah, she'll not knowing what an opiate is, she'll take does it have like pain relieving qualities? A giant
Say
bag.
that.
Bluey is just shaking his head at this point, and
We lost Garen.
she explains that that they do have medicinal quality, though they need to be taken in small doses.
She'll look at Bluey and then assume by him shaking his head that she shouldn't get it. So she'll say, maybe next time. And she'll just hand over the gold for the for what she asked for earlier, the Corvea.
I don't know. Seeing Bluey shake his head, I think Solitude's gonna go get some now.
I was say, I thought for a second I was gonna have to RP Garen accidentally drugging Jim.
So you said just like 10 and some copper. Let me see.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, done and done, and she'll be done with the shopping.
Absent Dream Lily. And Solitude, if you're interested in the Dream Lily, you could probably approach this conversation quick enough to hear about the discrete topic that's being discussed, and you'd see
I will
that
take a pinch of that.
yeah, they're like black, dead, dried up flowers, and the petals, they crumble as you touch them. She kind of holds it out to you in a small bit of cloth that she unfolds, and she offers you a small crumbled piece of one of the leaves to sample it.
I have important busyness today. I probably should not in the middle of the day, but
But how can you know of its potency if you don't try it?
She says this as though, like, an experienced drug dealer that, is urging one who is buying her drugs to try before they buy.
I'm just passing through, but it is I am not from here, so I am interested in sampling the wares of this land. But like I said, I will purchase today and try tomorrow.
She looks at you as though this is a very curious custom, though. Doesn't decline having to give you a free sample. Quickly puts it back into the pouch. Folds up the small Dream Lily flower and offers it to you for the price of 1 gold piece.
All right, I will purchase a Dream Lily for 1 gold.
Solitude 100% handle that situation like a Fed.
Dark.
So I have 1 Dream Lily that confers some sort of psionic abilities.
Yes, I will tell you all about what your Dream Lily does as soon as you eat it.
Okay.
Unless you
I made the right choice.
unless you cast Identify on it or something like that.
Right now.
In which
I'm
case, I'll tell you what it does. I really want you to eat it, though.
He doesn't have identifiers.
right now.
Oh no.
Right now. Do it right now.
Peer pressure.
Yeah, she
No,
peer pressured you
no.
enough. Solitude has already passed her checks. She was not pressured. Her charisma check was a nat 20 automatically. For those of you that still linger within the marketplace, if you find anything of curious intent or find yourself wanting for something, feel free to speak up. And we're going to take a short 5-minute break here, which should give you some time to think about that.
All right. See you guys in 5.
Awesome. Yep.
I was gonna open some gear and pick some up and have it rolled in a cigarette. Like, here, got you some tobacco. Try this.
It was real close. If Bluey wasn't there, it would have happened.
By the way, it's got drugs in it. Oh, I'm glad
Yeah,
you told me
after you
that.
take
Now
your
I'm
first
already
drag,
smoking it.
yeah. Yep.
I need to find a magical tailor. Uh, Uh-oh. What you need right now. Nope, not I. Oh. Pokemon Go.
I'm back.
Back.
Yes,
Hey, did you
these.
see my DM again?
Oh, let me see. These egg incubators definitely won't break after 3 uses. That's a very very good point. Okay.
Impact.
What was this for? Things that
Not
saw.
yeah, 906. Uh,
Oh, 906.
italicized.
Yes, yes. Done and done.
Yes. So on the way to the market, Solitude would drop a note in a hollowed out railing of a step or something somewhere, which no one would see unless they had a passive were actually actively looking or had a passive perception over 20.
My passive perception is 47.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Oh, doesn't Voltai have a passive perception of like 23 or something?
It's pretty high, whatever it is, I think.
If it is there to be heard or seen, Voltai is there to see it or hear it.
Batman.
GMW needs a magical tailor.
There's a story that comes to mind when you say that. I think it's called like the King's Clothes or the Emperor's Clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys probably know this story, it's pretty famous one.
Regale me with the story.
No, I can't. I'll tell you after the session.
What, the emperor that no one would tell him he's naked?
Yes, that is correct. Basically, he got duped into believing that, that the most
There's a good lesson in that story.
the most stylish and the most new edge, cutting edge would be just to go out in your birthday suit and present yourself that way. And everybody was too scared to tell him, that he looked like an idiot. But secretly, everybody was like, "You're naked right now, and you look like an idiot."
Emperor, why go dick out?
Multiple lessons to be learned from that story.
Yeah, the emperor may or may not wear clothes. Who am I to say?
Paramount of which is, if you are the emperor, you do not have to wear clothes.
It's good to be the king.
I don't think
Yep, a few lessons the American electorate could certainly learn.
GMW
Sorry, I'll stop the politics.
to not wearing clothes.
Probably anybody who elects leaders could learn
things from that lesson. So it's a fair assessment. Well, having collected most of the goods that you sought out in the marketplace, it's around
Yeah, I
midday
guess
at this point. Somewhere
as
around
we're heading back,
1 or 2 in the afternoon.
Solitude will tap Percy on the shoulder. Percy, I have something to show you.
Okay.
She pulls out a quartz gem. This is a gem that I had made for my old group had made for us. It is a gem of a spell storage. It you can cast a small spell into it, and it will be stored permanently in the gem until time at which you wish to use it. This one will hold a level, a second level spell. I cannot use it anymore. It was usable back when I was using those spells, but it is wasting away sitting in my pocket, so I wanted to give it to you.
You
She gives you
can't use it anymore?
no, my spell casting is different than yours or the wizard Zamiel. As I increase in power, my spells increase in power as well, so I can only cast a few spells, but they are, how do you say, humdingers when I cast them. So these, I can no longer cast a spell of
Oh,
this level. So
oh, okay.
I want you to have it so you can make the use of it.
Thank you. I will happily use it.
Oh, but there's not much of a description, but this is what it shows up as my inventory. You just you can cast a level 2 spell into it, and then it
Perfect.
is in there, and then you can use just an action, use the gem, and cast the spell.
Cool. Thanks.
That's a nice one to have.
A little
Story.
piece of paper falls out of Solitude's hand with the gem, and on it you see the ultimate wiki guide to wondrous spell gems.
Yeah.
Thank you. Cool.
And it basically just tells you how they work and their rarity levels and what level spell can go in which kinds and all that fun stuff.
Perfect.
Oh, I see. It doesn't adopt the spell stats. Each gem has different stats. Okay.
Oh, well, I suppose, who is the guide that you have secured for us, Michel Bluey? And are we ready to depart? I have a hot date with Serpentia. I do not want to be late.
He came highly recommended by Master Ursendel. He is Kang, the Ashta. You take note of
Kang
the
the
last
Ashta.
name.
Ooh.
And Ursendel is of House Valderin. Curious that he should offer not someone from the Valderin house, but this member of the Ashta clan. Rather formidable looking fellow.
Is he around us?
No, but you did see him in the bar, and you would have spotted him in your hallway conversation as he walked into his room, as really one of the only other people that was staying at the inn that night with you, as it had been rented out specifically for you guys.
Was he the guy with the mohawk that me and Phelan saw?
Yeah, you mugged him a little bit at the buffet, the chow table.
Okay. Yeah, Sin Gurner will say to Bluey, that's an interesting choice of personnel, don't you think? Considering the circumstances.
I thought so myself, though Ursendel seems to be beyond reproach.
We shall see.
Indeed. At any rate, he is back at the inn waiting for us. We will need to retrieve him before we depart.
I'm lost. I can't find the inn.
Help is on the way.
Help is on the way.
And
And
from...
Oh, is
GMW
Shen
really
making?
needed a magical tailor before we left.
Oh, you said you needed a magical tailor. That's right. You would
Yeah.
find the artificer kind of having some magical garments and gowns, cloaks, things of that nature. You'd probably be the closest thing to that.
I'd walk into a shop or his booth and greet him. Then ask him, think there's any way you could fashion me a pair of boots in the same style as those that I'm wearing, with the enchantment that comes along with boots of elven kind.
He greets you back, shows you to a collection of boots that they have, one of them actually being boots of elven kind, and tells you that he can add such a quality to any pair of boots, and allows you to kind of peruse from the selection that he has, but he explains if you're content with the ones that you've got, I suppose I could clean those up a bit and apply such a characteristic to those.
What would that service cost me?
He does the head math. And he tells you it would run you around 250 gold pieces. He guarantees you'll feel the comfort you felt the first day you wore the boots. Or perhaps after they were broken in properly. First days with boots can be rough sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Um, 250 gold sounds reasonable. That'd be about the cost if I'm in this fine Elven boots outright. I have a certain attachment to these, so
You might have cut out there a little bit. You were fading out, sounding like Bluey on his bad hair days.
oh,
It
yeah,
sounded like you were headed towards the direction of you're attached to the boots that you've got, and you were okay with the price. And then I didn't hear the end of what you were saying.
yeah, it's pretty. It's just go and cover on.
I feel
Yeah,
like
bud, your audio's getting wonky.
I feel like I'm speaking common and you are speaking abyssal right now.
That's
That-
something from Star Wars.
Is that better?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Bluey turns around and goes,
All
Zamiel.
right. So that earphone's probably dying. I just said to go ahead and work your magic on him.
Perfect.
And GMW take his boots off and put him on the counter.
He hears you say this clear as day and begins going to work almost as soon as your boots hit the counter. And you're like shoeless or bootless right now, are you not?
Yep.
He offers you a pair of boots that are similar to your size and style for free to wear while he's working on your boots.
About how long you think this is going to take?
He explains that it shouldn't take him more than 2 hours to complete such a task. But not before he offers you a pair of, like, those, like, booty socks that they give you to try on shoes with when you're in Reebok store or something like that.
So
Yeah.
They're magically blessed with prestidigitation, so you don't stink up his boots. He's saying he thinks you're stinky. No. Standard? Customary? He says he hands you these garments.
Jim W. will sit at one of the benches I'm sure are conveniently located throughout the store to put these fucking booties on.
You see
And
a
then,
mirror across from each one.
yeah, and then slip the boots on, which I'm assuming do not come with spurs.
These
It's gonna
ones,
be weird for the next 2 hours.
yeah, you have spurless boots on. Someone thanks you for shopping at Payless shoe store as you leave.
He's got apple bottom jeans and boots with the spurs.
Boots with no spurs.
Apple bottom jeans and boots without the spurs. What in the fuck's going on here?
For once in his life, GMW's looking scared. Alright, we will save you the rest of that rap song. GMW, are you satisfied with your purchase from the magical tailor, i.e., artificer?
Oh yeah, so Jim W rejoins the group, looking noticeably like uncomfortable, not hearing the rhythmic chime of his spurs per every step.
Mr. Garrison Morrison Wild, you something seems different about you. You seem
You
shorter.
walk so quietly.
I'm having my boots worked on. I got these ones, and I kind of moved my heels, my foot around. Ain't got no damn spurs on them.
Well, should we wait until your boots are redone before we head out, or strike out now?
Nah, the guy said it'd probably take about 2 hours, so we can probably get to business and come back for him.
All right. And our guide is he back at the inn? I suppose we should meet him there and then get going. We? Yeah, I guess we'll head back to the inn and rendezvous with the guide.
Sounds like a good plan.
Yes.
You guys make it
Actually,
back to the lizard house. You'd be greeted by Drums, Olo, and this Kang fellow. And him and Olo are having a conversation basically about which way you had led them through the forest or which way he had led you through the jungle. Initially, when he first took you out there, Drum's kind of just standing on, watching, listening to the conversation. And as you approach, Kang in sort of like an Australian type accent.
Ah, they're here then. Well, are we to the jungles? Or are we going to dally around all day?
We are ready for our jungle excursion. As we speak. Enchanté, Monsieur Kang, I'm sure. Solitude, je m'appelle.
Nice to meet you. That's good, because the food in here is terrible.
He says, looking at Drums with a little bit of a disdain, wiping some
Solitude
grease off his mouth.
Solitude shoots a glance at Percy of like, what do you think about this guy? Glance.
Percy just kind of shrugs, like Anybody from this region has to be better than us who don't know the jungle, right?
She nods back.
Olo here was just telling me he's neglected to tell you of the Traveler's Curse. Olo, an experienced guide like you, should have noted something like this firsthand. At any rate, you won't be suffering any of that while in my company. Not Olo's, of course, but he's not well enough to take you out into the jungles, you see.
Is a traveler's curse? And we are safe from it if we are in your vicinity? What does he do?
You might think of it as job security for a man like me.
He chuckles at his own joke.
You see, there's a curse on these lands of Zantash'k here. A traveler's curse. Foreigners like yourself come here and find themselves confused. It affects the lands, temporally and spatially. The effect it has is strange and not always the same. It can be positive or very negative. An adventurer might find themselves arriving at a destination much sooner than expected, covering much less space than they thought they would need to. Or they can wander for days into what seems like an endless thicket of jungle, with no sign of the treasure or spot on the map that they thought they should be at by now.
He says this last, kind of like speaking to everybody, taking a turn to look at everybody as he says these words, hoping that they're sinking in.
Interestingly, it has no effect on natives of Zantash'k.
And you say
We
we are
gotta do
safe
another
from it
insight.
if we are with you? That is strange.
Now Percy is looking at Solitude like, this guy's
No.
a little weird.
Samuel gives the guy a skeptical look as well.
Right then,
Regardless, the die is cast. We must go.
off we go then.
He seems to be urging you out of the lizard house and into the jungles, as perhaps he knows there's some bit of urgency around this. Being a part of the Ashta clan, he's likely been briefed by his own clansmen on their duties and the roles of taking down Serpentia.
Off we go. I guess we'll. Yeah, I don't know if I trust this guide, but
I'm not a huge fan of like superstition.
Well, you know what they say about superstition. There's generally a kernel of truth to it.
I just think it's odd that Drums never mentioned this curse.
Yes, I have to assume it's just an attempt by someone who doesn't understand magic to explain it.
Yeah,
Could
Percy's
be.
just gonna assume this guy is just like a elaborate storyteller and likes to like freak people out.
He could be an elaborate con man. I'll keep my eye
necessarily.
on him either way.
Thinking like crocodile hunter drama.
Totally just sharpening a gigantic Bowie knife.
Right then. Follow me,
He says as he leads you out of the lizard house and in the direction of the shard fields of the jungle that you had once come from, where you'd recovered your friend Ursindel and right into the Yuan Ti cultists. You head back into the thicket, back into the wilds, and that is where we will resume next session.